Enti Akosia Angel Marigo said ye weni etria dada nsem da nsem nana Mitadi bi ebedomo na it seems say road to election finally MPP Amayoko mo ato aba ede yi eye Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia se one ye fag bearer edema eye MPP Amayoko da said ye eye NDC Amayoko no omo ensema omo eka eyina ne se ade say eye MPP de debia omo ema eye non-gens for into me emeye fankatuni emfamo mo ensembebri na NDC for sorry na omo ka especially former president John Dramani Mahama eka ensembebri ansana omo ekoto abana omo nso approve say eye MPP amayeko ne enye amayeko baako anase enye nipa baako dia na enya eye regini ba ni anase nya region bidia nemu eye obia etumi eye de ebetina so edi eye fag bearer ni bina eye Dr. Mahmoud finally ye yini se ono na ye fankatuni eno na eye CDD Ghana enso omo abamwate so abe reply eye former president ensemwa onambonte so ekafa eye Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ho na ensembebre na enomodi abetuja na yenkoi tie nsem ni bimba jaya jenche e comment section so e ma we fi se obebo adoma no so said e be ya me uploading new videos bia na obenya notification e wo phone
themselves are the only people who can tell us exactly why the vote has turned out that way. Probably they are looking at, the NDC had already selected their flag bearer. So who knows, maybe in their minds, they are thinking, all right, who is the best candidate, who is the candidate best positioned to really give the NDC a run for their money? Maybe there are some who are unsure of Dr. Bawumia. There are also some who are unsure of Ken, all other things, maybe things that they feel the person has done for the party. It's a combination of several factors, right? But for me, when all is said and done, he's emerged victorious. The thing that one of the things that he needs to do, and I always say this, is when primaries are over, it is always critical how parties handle post-primary grievances. Already they've lost, Alan, and however many people were going to support him or not, they've already lost that. For me, I think the challenge for him, or at least one of the things he needs to do, is to think that Ken has pulled almost about 38% of the vote, means that there are people in the party who would have preferred Ken, although not to the point where he becomes flag bearer. So you need to understand all of those sentiments, because ultimately you want a party that is united going into the general election. But to have pulled, 6 out of every 10 primary voters is not a bad performance. Yes, I know that there were some of his surrogates who were saying they don't expect anything less than an 80 or 85%, and they were that confident, etc., etc. It's all part of politics and posturing. Now, they would have to deal with how they reconcile those projections with what has turned out. But for me, when all is said and done, having emerged victorious as it's looking, he just needs to make sure that all sections, everybody in the party, you can still hold them together, especially to look at how strongly Kennedy Japan has performed. You really want to understand his voters, his support, and how you keep them. Right? You don't want to do or say anything that would antagonize him or antagonize his party members, to a point where it chips away whatever support that you need going into, 2024. Because, for me, today's story, yes, it's very historic what the vice president has done in terms of the party and being able to pull this off. But the other big story emerging today is the force of Honorable Kennedy Japan. My own mother, who has been a big fan of President Akufo-Addo all the way from even when he threw his hat, into the flag bearer race, back in, Kufuor's time. Broke camp with him and is solidly behind Kennedy Japan. And it's people like her that I think Bawumia needs to understand why that sentiment, why that strong feeling. Because my mom this morning when we spoke is saying to me, she won't, if the delegates don't choose Ken, she's not going to vote. And she's not one person to mince her words. But at the same time, it's not as though she's going to cross over and vote for NDC. No, she's a diehard NPP. But why are some of these, strong sentiments, in favor of Ken? Once he understands all of that, I think he would be able to keep the party together, because the last thing that you want is anything that erodes party unity going into a general election. I mean, for me, it's a good thing that they did the other day by having the candidates sign that commitment that said, win or lose, they'll stick with the party. Because can you imagine with Ken's, showing, and without the moral force of that, agreement, he sort of tinkers with the idea of I'll leave the party. That would even be even more disastrous, for the MPP, who are already facing, a very difficult political terrain going into 2024.
Here, and one of the things she said is that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia must do everything possible to bring back Alan into the MPP fold, and that he shouldn't give up. Is that an exercise in futility, or you think that it is doable?
I think it would be an exercise in futility, in the sense that, and for me, for everything that Alan said leading up to his departure, right, and starting this movement and going independent, I think it would also say something about his credibility. Right? People already have all kinds of narratives about politicians, right? And so for you to have expressed those strong sentiments and those strong feelings about the party, the direction of the party, and if he had just said, you know what, I'm out of the party, I don't want to be part of it, and left it at that, then, for me, it wouldn't hurt then to do everything to bring him back into the party fold. But he took it a step further to say, you know what, not only am I leaving the party, I'm going independent. And for me, it wouldn't speak well to his political integrity should he make a 360, and go back. And then there are also others in the party who publicly said, there are some voices who said, look, if he's going to go, let him go. We are not afraid it's not going to have any impact, etc. I know Dr. Bawumia didn't say that, but there are voices that have said that. Yeah. So how do you also, now turn around and, try and, woo him back? I don't think he should, I don't think he should try. But at the same time, even if he made that overture, for me, then it won't speak well to Alan's political integrity, because then there's a lot he would have to eat up to be able to say, I'm coming back, to the party. Because he's got however many people he's gotten excited, however big, however small. What then do you say to them that you are abandoning this independent bid and now going back to the party that I said